So in this video we're going to look at how to sponge feed a puppy. Sponge feeding is really simple. I prefer it over bottle feeding, and I'll explain a little bit about that in the video. So to sponge feed, what I use is makeup sponges. That's one that I made earlier, but it's a little bit worn now, so I'm going to actually make a new one because that's starting to fray and wear a little bit. A 5mm or a 1mm syringe depending on the size of your puppy, and a pot for putting your milk in. And to make a makeup sponge into a sponge to feed a puppy, so we're going to basically cut this makeup sponge down to be the same sort of width as mum's nipple, and that varies from breed to breed. So take a look at the size of mum's nipple and then cut your sponge down just to match. I'm doing this for a Labrador puppy. I'm just going to cut the ends off, make it a bit more round, and make it a bit fatter as well, because she's getting a bit bigger now. That's it. So it's kind of like a wedge shape, and that's all we need in terms of the sort of sponge that you're going to use to feed your puppy. And last but not least, for sponge feeding your puppy, one puppy. Now we're sponge feeding this little girl because she was born half the size of her siblings, and she's got a deformed little front right leg. So trying to compete with her in a big litter, she got no chance. So we took to sponge feeding this little lady. Now when you're sponge feeding a puppy, what you want to do is you want to have them lay flat. You don't want them upright, you don't want them lay on the back or on the side, keep them flat. As you can see, she's already hungry. So we've got our milk in our tub. In there some warm water to heat it up. Take your makeup sponge, dip that in the milk to warm it up, soak some up on the sponge. And you're going to take your puppy, put it to the mouth, and then they should start feeding straight away. What you'll find is she'll try and climb and they'll latch and they'll pad. If your puppy doesn't want to take it at first, what I find is that if you massage the sponge, make it a bit softer, even run it through hot water and then squeeze it a little bit, to take it a bit better. Once we've warmed that up, we're going to suck some milk up in your syringe, press your syringe into the side of your sponge, and all you're going to do is slowly fill that sponge with puppy milk. Now when we're doing this, your puppy controls the flow, but try not to go too fast. All we're trying to do is fill the sponge with milk so that the puppy can actually control the flow. Now the milk that I'm using isn't a commercial milk. This is a milk that I've made, and it's much more digestible and better for them. What I will do is I'll give you the recipe and show you how to make that at the end of the video. If you want to find out how to make this for these, make sure you subscribe, stick around until the end. I'll give you a puppy recipe, go step by step through how to make your puppy milk for your puppies so that you can sponge feed nice and easily too. So as this little girl's feeding, I'm just slowly keeping that topped up. We'll let her control the flow of that. Her sucking on that. The other thing to do with your syringe, always push the syringe into the sponge below the puppy's nose line, and that way you're less likely to end up with aspiration pneumonia. She's not as likely to breathe it in. If you find your puppy's greedy, which she can be sometimes, and there's too much on the sponge, they will breathe a little bit in. Don't worry, get yourself an aspiration bulb and just suck that out of the nose. Most puppies are okay, they'll blow that out, but certainly with young puppies, the last thing we want is them to breathe that in. The general rule of thumb for puppies is 1ml or 1cc of milk per ounce or 28 grams of body weight every couple of hours. If they want to eat more, fantastic. We're not tube feeding, whereas you'd be pumping it straight into the stomach and they have no control. With this, she can control exactly how much she takes. So when she's had enough, just like when she was on mum, she can come off when she's had enough. So I'll just keep going until she tells me that she's had enough, at which point then I'll help her go to the toilet, by taking my kitchen roll or my cotton wool, dipping it in the warm water and stimulating to go to the toilet, just like mum would. So in a sort of up and down motion, like mum would do with if she was using a tongue to stimulate them to go to the toilet. What I find that also does, it helps them wind or burp. So you may find that sometimes, just like with babies, they need some help in getting some wind up. So sit them up, tap the back, rub them, and help them get the wind up. And that is how you sponge feed a puppy. The videos for the puppy milk are in the comments below. We've also got one there for how to get your puppy to go to the toilet too, for your hand rearing tips. So it makes things nice and easy for you, and you don't make the same mistakes that I had to learn and go through.